Okay, we're solving equations by showing our steps. Day one. So what we're doing is we're solving equations here. We have a calculator, but I don't think we'll need that calculator. So we have negative 5z plus 7 equals negative 48. Okay. Um, well, what we got to do, look what we were doing with the scales, because treat this like it was a scale. Let's take off these little constants here. If we subtract 7, then what we have is, move this up a little bit, we have negative 5z, that's 0, they're all taken away, equals negative 48 minus 7, that's negative 50, my mind's 55. I think so. It's 15. Yeah, negative 55. And then, so negative 5z equals negative 55. And that's multiplication. And so the inverse, we use the inverse operation. That's what this whole thing's about, inverse operations. When you see addition, use subtraction. When you see multiplication, use division. You divide by negative 5. And so negative 55 divided by negative 5 is positive 11. And that should be our answer. It looks like a little face almost. So that should be 11. Okay, next we have this problem where we have 2u minus 7 equals negative 29. Inverse operations, the inverse of subtracting 7 is adding 7. And so just like our scale here, we have 2u is equal to, well, that's negative 22. And we use, again, the inverse of 2 times u is dividing by 2. So these cancel. And this is divided by 2 as well to keep everything balanced. Negative 22 divided by 2 is negative 11. So this should be negative 11. Next. And with this one, we have 4z plus 12 equals negative 40. And the inverse of adding 12, we have to subtract 12. And we have 4z is equal to negative 52, it looks like. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. I divide by 4, and they cancel. Got to do the same thing on both sides of the equal sign. So I divide by 4 here. And so z is equal to, well, negative divided by positive is negative. And 54 divided by 12, that goes in one time. And I think that's 13, negative 13. Let's find out. So then this would be negative 13. Great. Next, another one of these. This one you got to be tricky. This one's tricky. So we have, what is this? Oh, okay. Anyway, this is number, sorry, this is number 4. Oh, maybe I'll put number 4. Negative 2y minus 12 minus 20. Okay. Again, we get rid of the constants first. So we have to add 12 because that's the opposite of subtracting 12. Add 12 to both sides. Oops. And what we're left with is negative 2y is equal to negative 12 plus 12. Negative 20 plus 12 is negative 8. And then here, this is what you got to be careful about. If you're multiplying by negative 2, the inverse of that is dividing by negative 2. So they have to cancel. It's the same number and the same sign. So divide this by negative 2. and that is equal to negative divided by negative is positive, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, so it should be 4. And I'll put 4 in. There you go. This one should be number 5. So this is, I wonder if I could do this. So this is number 5. The first step, I would, oops, I gotta do this. The first step is I would, since this is minus 10, I would add 10 to both sides. What would the equation look after? Well, if I added 10 to both sides, if I add 10, then that would be negative 8u equals, well, that would be 120. So this is negative 8u equals 120. Okay, for the second step, I would have to, since that's multiplying by negative 8, then we have to divide. So I have to divide by negative 8. So now the the answer ends up being it's so if I have negative 8u is equal to 120, then I would have to divide by negative 8. See, these cancel. Divide this by negative 8. And what is that? Do I have I probably have a calculator up there, but 8 goes into 12, what, one time with 4 left over, that's 5. So it's 15, and positive divided by negative is negative. So this would be negative 15. So this is negative 15, and there we go. All good. Okay, now we have another one here. For the first step, I should so here we go with I'm going to have well, for my first step, I'm going to show negative 8q plus 13 equals 61. And my first step is to subtract 13. And what do I get left? I get negative 8q is equal to 61 minus 13, which is what, 8, and then that should be 48. So I got something in my throat right now. I would subtract 13 from both sides, and then what you get from that step is negative 8q equals 48. Excuse me. And now, then what we have is we would divide by negative 8 and divide this by negative 8, and 48 divided by negative 8 is negative 6. So q is equal to negative 6. So then we would divide by negative 8, and we get negative 6. And there we go. Next, we have this. Which one is equivalent? What I would do for this one is I would multiply these two together. Negative 5 times negative 9. Negative times negative is positive, and 5 times 9 is 45. And then negative 5 times x is written as negative 5x. That's what negative 5 times x means, negative 5x. And so which one matches that? I believe it is just this one. And I will check. And it looks like that's it. Okay. I will submit that. And it's good. This one's really easy, because if 3 n plus 6 right there. And then we have n plus p, and then we have a 3 out here. All that happened is the 3 just moved to the other side right there. So what is the value of p? It's just 6. And 6. And for this one, we have to distribute the -7, which means we're going to, I think I can write it here, -7, 12x minus 4. So -7 times 12 is -84x. -7 times -4 is +28. So -84x, they're all -84x, and then plus 28 is that one right there. Okay, next we have this one where it will end up being, uh, we have to find the GCF of 8 and 24. So the GCF, by the way, this is what number is this? It's number 10. And so the GCF of 8 and 24 is the biggest number that divides both numbers. Well, what divides 8? Well, 8 does. And 8 also divides 24. So that has to be the GCF. So the GCF of that is, it's just 8. So if I take 8x and divide it by 8, then that's just x, right? Because the 8's would cancel. And then if I take -24 and divide that by 8, that's -3. So, so then what you do is you take the GCF, which is 8, and then inside is that x and the -3. And that's it. That should be it. And so I'll tell you here, it's this. And how do I know it is? Because if I were to distribute what's 8 times x, yeah, that's 8x. What's 8 times -3? That's -24. You see, when you distribute it, it brings you right back. And so do this. Oh, I'm going to bring this down here to submit that all parts were, oh, something's wrong. Oh, because I didn't select all of them, right? Okay. So I think that maybe what would be good is not only do you, because usually when you factor, I was stuck in the idea of I have to factor it and I have to use the GCF. But which of these will also produce the same result? Um, well, 4 times 2 right here. 4 times 2x, that is 8x, but 4 times -24 is not -24, so that one is out. 8 times x is 8x, but 8 times 24 is not that. So here, 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times -6 is -24. So it would have also have been that one. I should have done that one as well. All right. We have this one here where we have to simplify question 11. I think I'll just do that here. So we have 3 and then -3x plus 4 minus x. So if you distribute, 3 times -3 is -9. No, x, negative 3 times -3x is -9x. And 3 times 4 is 12, so that would be plus 12. And then we have minus x. And minus x means we have minus 1x. So then we can combine our like terms where we have -9 minus 1 is -10x. -9x minus 1x is -10x. And then the plus 12, I couldn't do anything with that. So that's just part of my answer. So now I put that in here, -10x plus 12. And then Well, this is exactly the same as my answer. The next one, no, not plus 4. But if I were to do this one, -3 minus 3 minus another 3, so that's -9. And then this is minus 1 more, that's -10 x. And then with these, just these numbers here, 4 and another 4 is 8, and another 4 is 12. So that's plus 12. That is also one of my solutions. And then finally, if I were to distribute this, that would be -8x. And 2 times 6 is 12, so plus 12. And this is -2x. And -2x minus 8x, that is -10x. And then plus 12, because I didn't do anything with the 12. And that's exactly what my expression was before. So that's also one of my answers. There we go. Next, create equivalent expressions. Oh boy, this looks like it's going to be a tough one. So um, if I have -15x minus 25, that's equal to something with an x minus 8x plus 10x plus something minus 12. Well, let's see. Um, how many x's is this all together right here? How many x's is this all together? That is +2, right? And what we need is -15. So that means that I need this thing to be -17x, right? Because -17 plus the 2 will be -15. And then with the number, this number of 25 here, this -25, well, I have -12, so that means I need another negative number here. And what's the rest? Well, like 25 minus 12 is 13. So this would have to be -13 right here. And there we go. Because -13 minus 12 is -25. And then all the x's put together give me what I need. So I will, that's -17. And then this is -13. And there we go. And where are we at here? We have question number 13. And maybe I'll write number 13 here. So a computer game costs Q dollars. A student paid 11% tax. So it's Q dollars, and you have to add 11%, which is 0.11 as a number of that price. So 11% of that. So it would be this. Now, this is probably listed. I see it there, right there, right? God, I keep unclicking it. Then I have what one. This Q stands for 1Q, and or it's equal to 1Q. So 1 plus 0.11 is 1.11 Q, and I imagine that would be there too. Yeah, it is. I see it. It's there. I don't think there's any other way that this is expressed. So that's what I'm going to go with. And I submit, and it's good. Okay. Next, oh yeah, the big one here. So this would be, I think I could use this here. This ends up being 6 times x. So 6x, right? So I'm looking at this right here, 6x when x is 4. So that means it's going to be 6 times 4 minus 13. Well, 6 times 4 is 24 minus 13. And I think that's 11, right? Okay. And then the other one is going to be 3. And then looking at this here, 2x, 2 times x, which x is 4. So that's going to be 2 times 4 minus 4. So that's equal to 3 times 8 minus 4, which is 3 times 4, which is 12. Ooh, it's close, but they're not the same thing. And so this is 11, this is 12, and they are not the same thing. So that's a no. And there we go. Next. Oh, up here for number 15. Okay. Lamasi claims the expression, um, this expression is equal to this. Well, it's not. Fill in the blank areas to show that, because what is it? It's 2 times 3x is definitely 6x. That's fine. But 2 times negative 4, that's negative 8. So it should have been 6x minus 8, not 6x minus 4. So let's fill this in. Lomasi did not find the product of 2 and negative 4. And the equivalent expression should have been 6x minus 8. All right. This one, let's see. Um, okay, what I see here is these are the same. That's all taken care of. But that 7.15, we have to make that a fraction. Well, over 100. Well, by the way, um, if I had 715, and if I divided that by 10, then that would just move the decimal one time to the left, and that would be 71.5. If I had took 715 and I divided that by 100, then that moves the decimal two times to the left. So that would be 7.15. And in fact, that's exactly what we need to, that's exactly what we have, because this is 7.15. And so what that means is this has to be 715. 715. Yep. Clear the screen here. This one, similar. This would just be 838 divided by 100, because of the same kind of reason I was just mentioning. Here. This would be 838 divided by 100, because if you divide by 100, that moves the decimal two times to the left, and it makes it 8.38. This one, 83 divided by 100 is 0.83. See, we got to connect. We have to connect these two right here. So 83 divided by 100 is 0.83. 83 divided by 100. Done. And it looks like that is the end of it. So I hope this was helpful.